Hey guys, camera for the series premiere of The Girlfriend Experience, Season 1, Episode 1 entry. Now, I was looking forward to this show. I wasn't, jumping for joy, excited, oh my god, The Girlfriend Experience is gonna be amazing. I was never like that, but that's mainly because the previews I didn't really remember. I remembered them vaguely, but I never really watched them that much, and that's good because I wanted to just go into it fresh, and the more I heard about it, the more praise it was getting, the more excited I became, and I definitely wanted to watch this first episode. I didn't know how it would be because I didn't really know what the show was going to be like. Like I said, I didn't really watch the trailers and things like that because I wasn't that excited for this show, but I knew it was a Starz show and I wanted to check it out. But I also wasn't sure if it was going to be another Flesh and Bone, or it has all this potential but doesn't really do anything. And from this first episode, not only do I think the Girlfriend Experience already has delivered on its potential and already has exceeded my expectations, but I'm already hooked on this show. I mean, this episode was fantastic. It was mainly setup, but I think it perfectly introduced us to this world and the characters, and it was only half an hour, which I think is very interesting, but I'll get into that. Let's just get into this episode, though. There is a lot to talk about. There's a lot to get into, and if you guys don't know, the first 13 episodes are all on Starz already, so I'm probably just going to review it throughout the week. I'll do what I did with Daredevil. I'll probably finish this in maybe 2 weeks or so. I don't know. I'll try to finish it as quickly as possible, but whenever I finish it, I don't know when exactly I'll finish it, but I'll do what I did with Flesh and Bone and, Daredevil and things like that, where I'll review it weekly. I'm going to review the second episode right after this one, once I watch the second episode, and let's get into this episode because I definitely really love the way they set things up. So I love the way this show starts, because right away we get that casual sort of feel. The entire show feels very small, and this is a very good example of that. We see Christine Reed, our main character. She knocks on the door and meets up with her friend Avery Sher, who is wearing a very scandalous nightgown, and Christine asks if she wore that, and Avery says she wore it with a jacket. And Christine asks where the guy is, and Avery said that he's at a meeting, but he left his credit card on the table, and basically they can use it. And Christine basically then asks if she got room service, and she then calls the hotel and orders room service, and basically it's interesting, just that little scene. There's a lot of little details in that scene that don't seem important, but I feel like are going to be important. Like, for example, we find out the wine and the drinks are only like $900, and the food's very cheap as well. Very interesting. Just the way they started that, I really enjoyed. So Christine then goes to a job interview. She's applying for a job, and she keeps remembering words on the cards, pretty much because, as she says, they want to hear their own words repeated back to them. And Avery asks, why she's doing that, but they ask for what the best piece of advice she ever received was, and she says to keep breathing. And again, it feels like that's going to be very important. I heard this is a show where little details are actually big details, and very much seems that way. So the guys in the interview tell her it's a year-long competitive internship, and only 2 out of the 10 interns will be offered a position at the end, and asks her how she will handle the job, and she says that she welcomes competition and understands that both teamwork and competition are necessary components for problem solving. And that's really true. I mean, you need someone. There's always clashing when there's a problem, and then the solving is, you work something out from that competition. There's always a winner. I mean, every reality show really is, a competition, and problem solving, really, because any reality show you see, like American Idol or something, well, American Idol just ended, but like take that for example, where you're judging and there's a lot of competition there, that is a problem. The problem is you need to pick one out of them and only one will win. That's kind of, I think, what she's trying to say, that, with problem solving, there always is some sort of competition, and that's just part of how it is, and I definitely like that she said she welcomes it. So they ask her why she wants to work at Kirkland, and she says because they're focused, and she's particularly involved with the litigation work they're doing with cat catheter-based cardiac procedures, and she says she feels their clients' bases are at the forefront of medical technology, and that they will speak with her soon. So we don't know how her interview went. It seems like it went pretty well. She walks out of the interview, and then she goes to a bar with Avery, and they both talk about their interviews. Avery's didn't go as well, but she doesn't want to be a lawyer anyway, while Christine does. Well, we think they're talking about their interviews, but basically, she said that she's not really interested in being a lawyer, but you can tell that Christine really does. She really expresses a passion in that, and she then goes to a guy, Craig, and she whispers in a very interesting scene here, but I think really sets the tone for how the show is going to be. She whispers in his ear that she saw him across the room and wants to have sex with him just casually out of the blue. She says this, and they go back to his apartment. They start making out, and she tells him that she likes him, and he says they just met. She says she knows, but she can tell. She says she wants him to watch her, and she gets on the couch and starts masturbating, as does he, and she asks him to tell her what he likes about this, and it's very casual the way she plays this. I mean, we don't really know why she's doing this, but it already shows her that sex is clearly not a big deal to Christine. She kind of just thinks of it as just something casual, and she doesn't really care who she's having sex with, and after they have sex, she then quickly gets dressed. He says that she can stay the night. She says she has to get up early and tells him it was fun. He says he likes her, and she says thanks, and she kisses him on the forehead and then leaves. Just the way she says thanks, just kisses him like that, leaves, didn't even ask him his name or anything. It's just very interesting. The way that they showed it, I thought was definitely interesting that we saw that. So she goes to Kirkland, and I thought that was a really great, we're only like 4 minutes in, but I was already hooked from right here. So she goes to Kirkland, give her the paperwork required to sign, and tell her that she's assigned to David Tellis, whose executive is Susan King, and he's in office 324. Susan then gives Christine a tour of the building, and they wait for David and Erin to arrive, and David and Erin are in some sort of fight. We don't really know what it's about, but there's clearly a lot going on in David and Erin's personal lives that we don't know about, and I think it's going to be something that we learn, and right away you can tell, I think Erin's going to be a bit of competition towards Christine. Just the way these two act, the way that Christine sees Erin, the way that Erin looks at Christine, I can already tell these two are probably going to clash a lot. So basically, Erin walks by them, and Susan asks David if he has a moment. He says not really and goes back out. Susan tells her to start working on cease and desist letters, and David comes up to her, asks her if she went to Chicago Burnham Law School, and she says she did. Asks her if she wrote the letter. She says she did. He asks if someone told her to write it that way. She says no, and he said it's a cut and paste job and not to get clever. She cuts and pastes, and she says she was just trying to make the language more exhaustive and not leave room for doubt. And David tells her to follow him, and I love this next scene. Because some people could come across as though David's just being a dick, but he really does have some good points here with this scene. I love the way this was done. They go to his office, he tells her to sit down, he shows her a hip replacement and says they don't give a shit about replacing the grandfather's hip, or even the grandfather. What matters is the silicone, the coating, the material. She says, and he says it's the shit that makes the hip replacement new and novel, and he says to make the language non-specific, and basically she says that he wants her to make the language non-specific to the medical field, and he says no one reads cease and desist letters. He is 50, that he's never read, and they get filed, and he'll never see them again. The words mean shit, it's just required paper trail. And that's exactly what it is. When you're first a lawyer, you just have to write cease and desist letters. I mean, I wouldn't know personally, but that's exactly what you need to do. You need to write these cease and desist letters, and they don't really mean much of anything. Christine is just taking it way too seriously, and he doesn't need her to do that. So, basically, we see that he tells her, she doesn't understand. He says just cut and paste the letters. He introduces her to himself, and he says they have paying clients, and he calls her Carrie again. He keeps calling her Carrie, but he says he's just joking with her. So she leaves the office. You can already tell that David is a very specific boss, and he really has an idea of what he wants, but it does seem like he's going to have a good bond with Christine. I'm looking forward to seeing how their bond evolves throughout the show, definitely. So she then goes to law school, sees Avery texting someone, and just the little reveal we get here that Avery's actually a classmate that she knows from law school, I think is really cool. They don't make it a big deal, but it is something that we find out. And basically, we realize that this is the guy who she was with, whose hotel she was in, and he says that he wants to buy her a car and asks if she should let him, and Christine says she'll take one. Avery says to take her picture, she's gonna act surprised. Christine takes a picture, and Avery says he'll love it. Christine asks what his name is, and she says Garrett. Christine asks how old he is, and Avery says he's 55, but looks good for his age. And again, these little details, they're big stuff, but they don't treat as big stuff. It feels like we're kind of just listening into their conversation, which I thought was pretty cool. So she then texts Garrett and says Christine took it, and she's her hot study partner. And Garrett asks if Christine's as beautiful as her. Avery says that she's even hotter and much smarter, and Garrett says he's not sure if that's possible. They go on about it, and Avery then puts the phone down. Christine says she wants to read the rest, and Avery says she'll think it's creepy, but she reads it anyway. And we see a lot of sexual messages, like Garrett's talking about how she made him hard, and referencing previous sexual encounters that they had. So Christine can tell this is not just two people texting each other. This goes way beyond that. There's a lot more going on there, and very interesting the way this scene was done, because, just the way we would find out all this quick stuff about David and Avery's relationship, I find very interesting. And Craig then sees Christine, introduces Avery to him, and again, the way that Christine doesn't even remember his name, at first calls him Greg, it just shows the way sex is going to be treated in the show. It's not about the actual sex, it's more about, power and things like that, which is very interesting. So he asks how she is, and she says she's good, and tells him Avery just had a hard day, and they're in the middle of a very serious conversation. He says he understands. He says he'll call her, and we don't know if Christine's maybe going to pursue something with Craig, if she's actually going to maybe try to be with Craig, or if she's just going to push him aside like everyone else. We don't really know. We'll have to see. So he says he understands, and Avery then can tell that they had sex. They go back to looking at Avery and Garrett's messages, and they drive to Garrett's house where Avery now lives because he likes the idea of her being there while he's away. And she says she's got a place to live. Christine asks if they're living together, and Avery says he's only going to be there twice a month, so not really. Offers Christine a drink, and she says she can't afford to be doing that right now. And you have to think, I mean, this is a man that's 50, and yet she gets his apartment, and she gets all this stuff. I mean, it's pretty crazy just the way that all this stuff was revealed. And basically, offers Christine a drink. She says she can't afford to be doing that right now. Avery says she can. And you can just tell that Avery just feels empowered. She feels empowered. Christine kind of feels that power, but Avery just has this power. And I like she's telling you can do anything you want. And they go into Garrett's garage. Avery points out the car he wants to get her and says the others she's never driven because the salt messes the paint job in the wintertime. But in the summer, he takes them on road trips. She then gets a call from him, steps inside, and thinks of what and basically Christine walks around the house, listens in on their conversation, and I think she's really thinking of what this could really mean. Like, what could happen if she maybe took this job. I mean, definitely it's very interesting. So Christine then goes to her apartment. She meets her roommate's girlfriend, Stacy, tells her she has to get ready for work. She then gets a call from her mom and says she's getting ready for work and will call her later. She tells her about the internship at Kirkland. She says she'll call her on Saturday, explain everything, but she's in a hurry. And it seems like her and her mother, there's a lot of things her mother doesn't know, and I find that to be very interesting. I'm wondering if we'll find out more about her and her mother's relationship, because I just feel like it's very important, but we'll have to see what happens there. Her roommate Tariq then comes in and asks if she met Stacy, asks if she left, and he says she did. He says if he likes that last call kind of look, and basically, she says, she likes her if he likes that last call kind of look. Asks if she's going to seeing more of her, and he says he hopes so. She says she's great, and he says he needs rent. She asks if his parents can give him till the end of the week, and he says he can ask. So you can tell that Christine does not live with Avery. She lives with Tariq, and I really do like Tariq's character. Their relationship overall sounds very fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing hopefully more of Tariq and Christine. I definitely do like it. It's one of the more lighter parts of the show. Not that this episode wasn't very casual, because like I said, the entire episode, there wasn't really a lot of heavy drama going on. It kind of was more of a fun introduction to what we're going to get, but I can definitely tell the show could get very heavily dramatic as it goes on. So she goes to Kirkland, watches a video about cells as David talks to Erin, who asks Christine what he has her on. Christine says XHP, and Erin says that's great. And just the way that Erin treats Christine, I mean, you can already tell that I definitely think these two are going to clash. Just the way that Erin, I think, seems kind of jealous. Not jealous of Christine, but just feels like Christine, she's superior to her, that she's better than her, and that, Christine isn't as valuable as her. I don't really know, but it just seems like there's going to be some clashing between Erin and Christine. Just the way that Christine talked about competition, I feel like that's really in reference to her and Erin. It really seems like that. So Christine is with Avery, asks her if she's her bonus offer. Avery says that she's not getting the point. She says she is. Avery says if she doesn't want to come, that's fine. Christine says she does, but she's curious and asks how they met online. And Avery says that she finds everything online. And obviously, Christine wants to know, how did they meet, obviously. And Christine asks if it's just drinks, and Avery says whatever she wants it to be, it's no pressure. She tells Christine he calls her Ashley, which is her online profile. Christine asks why Ashley, if that was the name she liked when she was little. She asks if she should call herself Chelsea. Avery says she can be whoever she wants to be and tells her it should be fun. So they go to the party, and Avery goes to, and basically, they decide to go to the party, and then we get pretty much the game-changing scene for the show, because this really shows us what Christine is probably going to be doing for the rest of the show. Avery goes to meet with Garrett as Ashley, and Christine introduced herself as Chelsea, and introduces her, and Garrett introduces her to Martin, and Ashley tells Garrett that the downstairs bathroom is acting up. Keep in mind, guys, when they are Ashley and Chelsea, I'm going to reference them as Ashley and Chelsea, because Ashley and Chelsea are way different than Avery and Christine. Obviously, deep down, they are Avery and Christine, but they're acting as Ashley and Chelsea, so I am going to reference them as Ashley and Chelsea in these scenes when they are playing these roles, basically. So if you guys do get confused, Chelsea's Christine, Avery's Ashley, in case you guys just get confused with that. So Martin and Chelsea start to talk. Garrett gets a call, which is clearly from his wife, and Christine just gives this look at Avery, knowing that she's having sex with a guy who's married and doesn't know about him and Ashley. I mean, just the look she gives her, I think is very interesting. Just knowing that, you're doing this and you don't seem to care, and he doesn't seem to care either. Again, it's just very casual, and neither of them really seem to care. So Martin asks Chelsea if she's one of the kind of girls that needs to talk to her man every 5 seconds. She says she's never met anyone. She wants to talk to her every 5 seconds. Martin asks how they know anyone she wants to talk to that wants to talk to her every 5 seconds, and Martin asks how they know each other. Ashley says they used to date in high school. Chelsea got so jealous of all her boyfriends, and Martin asks if she's the jealous type. Chelsea says she's only jealous of Ashley, and Martin, of course, doesn't really believe it. He asks how they really met, and Chelsea says that she's her yoga instructor. Martin asks what kind, and Chelsea says hot yoga, and you can tell that definitely she's starting to embrace this Chelsea personality a little bit. So she then goes into the bathroom, and Avery says that this is kind of fun. Martin really likes her. Christine says it seems to be the case. Christine asks what he does, and Avery says that he's a lawyer of real estates. Avery gives her an envelope, and Christine says she doesn't need it. Avery says it's just a gift, and Christine says she knows what it is, and Avery says it's just drinks. She doesn't have to do anything else. I love that we didn't know what this was, because I was thinking, is there like a condom in there? Is there a key to a hotel room in there? I mean, there could be a tons of things in there, definitely tons of things. And Christine takes the envelope, she looks at it, and there's money inside of it. Clearly, there's money to pay for hotel rooms and things like that in case she wants to do anything else. And Chelsea goes back to Martin and talks to him about being a lawyer and says she was asking about him in the bathroom. Martin asks this is a good thing, and Chelsea nods. Ashley and Garrett then leave because they have to leave, and Martin says that he will pay the check. Martin asks Chelsea if she's okay, asks if she wants to get out of there. She thinks about if she really wants to move forward with this, and that is how the episode ends. So, yeah, guys, it ended really quickly because, like I said, the show is only half an hour, surprisingly, but I really love the way this first episode introduced things. I really think they set up everything perfectly, and there's really nothing I don't think they didn't set up. I mean, there's a lot of things that I already really do like about this show, because Chelsea, or Christine, whatever you want to call her, she's now made this choice to go on as Chelsea. You could definitely tell. I mean, she decided probably to go with Martin. I think she is going to try this out. I mean, the show is called The Girlfriend Experience for a reason, and the director of the show, Amy Simons, if you guys saw the end of the thing where they had the behind the scenes thing, she said the reason the episode was called Entry is not because it's just Christine's and us getting introduced to the world, it's Christine's entry into the world of the girlfriend experience. And I think that's very interesting, and I definitely really do like that. And there are a lot of things I really love about the show. Let's get to the caster, because the cast is probably one of the most solid casts I've seen in a while, definitely. I mean, definitely the cast here is pretty great, especially Riley Coe as Christine Reed. She has this character down perfectly. I already love her acting. She does a great job. And here's the thing with Christine. A lot of people are saying, oh, she's an anti-hero. I don't see her that way. I see her as a human character. She makes bad decisions. She doesn't always do the right thing, but she's human. That's what she does. She's a very human character. She makes bad mistakes, and she's definitely not perfect, and she's not a hero or a villain. She's simply just a character that we're following that isn't really going to make the best decisions, and I like seeing that because we as humans don't always make the best decisions. This is a very good example of that. Christine doesn't make the best decisions either, especially taking on this life. I don't really think she knows what it entails, and I like that, but you also see the confidence she has, the sort of like apprehensive side of her as well, because I think she's kind of, reluctant to take this job, but at the same time, I think she's kind of intrigued because she sees the possibilities and kind of like the power that Avery has, and she really wants to take this job because of it, and I do think she's going to be continuing as Chelsea, which I'm definitely looking forward to. Paul Sparks as David, I think, is great just from that one scene he had with Christine. I mean, he had multiple scenes, but you can already tell his personality. You can tell that he's a very tough guy, but he really does care about his clients, and he really does, I mean, not clients, but he cares about his clients, and he cares about his workers as well, and I'm looking forward to seeing how his relation revolves with Christine. Definitely very interesting. Mary Lynn Roscoe as Erin, I think, is already a very interesting character because, like I said, I think Erin is going to be Christine's rival, but just the way she looks at her, the way that she talks to Christine, I can already tell there's probably going to be some clashing between these two. I don't know what kind, but I do think there's going to be something going on there, and I'm looking forward to seeing really what happens with that. Caitlin Scheel as Avery, I think, is pretty perfect because she perfectly is everything that Christine kind of wants to be. I think Avery, has this life, this carefree life life that she doesn't seem to care has all these things. She doesn't seem to care that she has an apartment. She doesn't seem to care that this guy is married. He doesn't seem to care either. And Christine sees this, and I think she's a bit intrigued by that, definitely. So I think that's going to be very interesting as to how, their relationship is going to be, definitely. And Avery's character in general, I already find very intriguing because she's done all these things, and Christine already thought she knew her, but she didn't. And the fact that she knows her from law school, I think is very interesting. I like that this isn't just something that she gets introduced to online. This is actually someone she met from law school. That makes it a little bit more personal, and I definitely really did enjoy that. So the relationship between Christine and Avery, I think, is going to evolve. I'm looking forward to seeing how this works out, and I am looking forward to seeing if Christine decides to take on this life, because I think that's very interesting. One character we haven't met yet is Amy Simons as Annabelle. We haven't met her yet. I do really want to talk about the guy that played Tariq, because I thought he was very good as well. His name's Sugith Varghese. I think he's very good as this character. I really love this character of Tariq. I definitely really love where he's headed. I like the relationship between him and Christine. He seems like going to be more of the comic relief type character. And I am looking forward to seeing his relationship with that girl, with the girl, I can't think of her name now. But the girl that he was with, I am looking forward to seeing how that's going to be, because I think that's already very interesting. Stacy, I'm looking forward to seeing if him and Stacy actually do work out. You can already tell the show, what I love about the show, and I think is very interesting, is how conversational it really is. The director, of the show said that that's an intentional choice, that the show is supposed to feel very conversational. It's never supposed to feel like we're watching it. We're supposed to always feel like we're just in the room, or we're just listening, or we're just hearing it from beyond a wall. When you're like in a bathroom and you hear a conversation and you don't really know what's going on, but you're kind of scared, you don't really know, you're kind of intrigued by what you're listening to. That's kind of how the show feels. It feels like we're kind of just listening from beyond rather than in front of them, and I think that's really cool the way they're doing that. It's a very stylistic choice, and the screenplay in the show is just near perfect. I love the screenplay. I think the lines are very good. This is going to be one of those shows I can already tell where things that matter now we don't think matter as much, are going to matter a lot more as the show progresses. I heard it's one of those shows. I heard I'm going to want to go back, and I think by the end of the show, I'm definitely going to go back. I'm going to rewatch this episode, probably rewatch the entire show when I'm done with it, and then see things that I might have missed, because I can already tell it's probably gonna be one of those kind of shows. I love the way it's done. I think producer here, Steven Soderbergh, he has yet to make something bad. I mean, Steven Soderbergh, he knows what he's doing. When he has his hands on something, it's gonna be great, and that's something I think is great. Just, that it's gonna be great because of Steven Soderbergh. He did a very good job with that, and you can tell that they really did their research, because Amy Simon said that most of what we're seeing in the show is based on lives of actual call-in girls. They've interviewed a lot of call-in girls, they interviewed a lot of girls that do this sort of thing, and they interview what their life is like. So a lot of this they didn't make up. This is real. Obviously, talking to the characters, they aren't real, but their lives and like the situations they get into, that is very real, and those things have happened. And I like that they clearly did their research. This isn't just something they made up, because it is something that happens every day. I mean, you guys probably know there are profiles like this. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've ran into sites like that. Obviously, I didn't do anything with them, but definitely very interesting the way that they've played that out. I like that they are very realistic, and I like that they're taking it seriously as well. The cinematography here is just fantastic. I love the cinematography of the show. The way the camera kind of pans out of things, like I said, it really does feel like we're just sort of there. Like, we're kind of just listening from beyond. It doesn't feel like we're in the conversation. It feels like we're kind of out of the conversation, but we happen to be listening in. There's a very interesting part of the episode where we hear Avery speaking to Christine, but the more she says, the quieter and quieter she gets. I don't know if it's supposed to show that Christine doesn't care, that maybe she's more intrigued, but I don't really know. Very interesting. I like the way that was done, and I love just the way this show is stylized as well. The editing to the show is very rare for a drama, because it's only half an hour. It's not a comedy, but it's half an hour, and I kind of like that, because a lot of shows nowadays, when they are dramas, they do drag, and this show didn't drag at all. It went by so fast. The first episode, only 27 minutes. I think the second episode's only 27 minutes as well. But it really is going to go by fast. You can already tell. I'm going to get this done pretty quickly, and I'm looking forward to that, definitely. But I couldn't get over how fast the show really went, because really, it went very fast. It finished before it was over, and it was crazy how fast it went, really, because it's, I'm not used to a show like this being half an hour, but I kind of like that they did that, because in many ways, it really is to their advantage. They don't have to spend, pad all this time. They don't need all this exposition. We don't need any of that stuff. Christine, there definitely is a lot going on with her character. We don't know yet, but we are going to find out as the episodes go on. I'm looking forward to that. The score here is great. I love the score of this show. Pretty much everything about the score I really did enjoy. My only real complaint is, like I said, it mainly was just setup. That's why it's not getting a perfect score. But I did really love this first episode. I really love the way it's headed. I think it was a very good first episode, really great direction for the show. I'm really looking forward to seeing the way the rest of the show plays out. I definitely am going to check out episode 2 right now, probably. Like I said, I am going to watch episode 2 right after this video. Remember, you guys saw this first episode. If you have seen it, I absolutely love this first episode. Already really am looking forward to the show. I can already tell it's going to be very addicting. And we'll see you guys next week, which will be for episode 2 of The Girlfriend Experience, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.